Welcome to John S's Sports Channel, and thank you for last week. With this week, we're going to go Championship Game Week 4 predictions. Last week, 7 correct results and 4 correct scores. How did you manage to help me to do that? That is my best result ever. And yes, somebody said, why didn't I bet on it? What would I have got if I'd have done an accumulator on that one? So we're going to go forward because I know you like to go quick. Championship predictions for game week 4. And we're going to start with Leicester versus Birmingham, which is going to be a good game because we've got Leicester there coming down, playing what they believe to be their season to go straight back up, and just not quite hitting as many as they think they should be doing, and as many as we think they should be scoring. They're playing well, but they're not playing well enough for a team that's come down from the Premier League. And Birmingham have been sort of similar. They've been playing really well, but then there's been times where you think they should be scoring more because they pumped so much money into that, and they've got a damn good side in the Championship. Really good recruitment, and they've been playing sides that have been playing pretty poorly and thinking they should be knocking them out of the park, like the Sheffield United. They won Sheffield United at home 2-1. People were thinking that with Sheffield playing as badly as they were, surely they'd knock more than better score than 2-1 in. So let's have a look at this on a better scale. Last time out, Leicester City, it was an away win. Away at Charlton. Now, Charlton usually really control the game at home. They're really on fire. They're really technical. They allowed Charlton to have 20 shots from 45 possession. Forget the possession here. I don't think the stats as far as possession really count. But what does count is those 20 shots that Charlton managed to get on. 7 of them on target and none in the net. Usually you can guarantee that at least 1 in 3 or 4 get in the net. 7 and none, Leicester City, only 2 shots on target, 2 shots off target and 2 shots blocked. Don't seem to be really shooting. When they do shoot a lot, it seems to be quite wayward and not at target or not on target. So a little bit of an issue with the Leicester City game and the Leicester City way of playing. Why do we say that? Well, if we go to the first game, Sheffield Wednesday win 2-1. They left it late. They should have been absolutely. They were absolutely on top all the way through. It shouldn't have been just 2-1, should it? Not really. So a win, draw, lose, win. The draw against Huddersfield 2-2 was a disappointment from them. They said that after the game. Preston 2-1 defeat away, and Preston for me have been playing pretty poorly, so they really should have put that one to bed. And yet, I think we're sort of seeing a side in Leicester that just for me not quite getting enough on target. 2 on target in the Preston game, for instance, and 1 in the net. However, as people will say, only 4 of them off target, so 8 of them blocked. Now, it is a case in Championship football. It is a case in football. It's okay getting them on target, but you've got to be able to get them on target and through and past the defenders. Pretty good idea. It's part and parcel of shooting. You make sure you've got a clear line on sight of goal and you try and put it on target. Don't seem to have got that idea, this Leicester side, yet. I think they will. And I'm sure they will. The Birmingham side, though, they started with an impressive game, wasn't it? The 1-1 draw at home to Ipswich. And how late do you want to score against this Birmingham side, Ipswich? Really, I don't know how you managed it, but yeah, they managed to scrape a draw. Birmingham really should have won that 2-1 win then. At home to Sheffield United, and once again we're thinking they should have beaten this poor side a lot more than that. And then Blackburn win 2-1, Oxford win 1-0, and again, people were saying they're going to beat this poor Oxford side more than just 1. and they didn't. And then they lost last time out against Port Vale in the Carabao Cup. I mean, look at the Oxford game, the last championship game. And Birmingham scored through Sung Ho on 40 minutes, but they had a huge amount of possession. They really did. And it showed. In the game, they were just knocking it around very, very easily, shooting willy-nilly. But 11 of those were off target. 11 of those 16 were off target. Only 5 of them were sort of towards the net, and only one of them was on target without being blocked and kicked away. Mainly because the Oxford defence really did pull straight back and try not to let one in. However, it almost worked, didn't it? I mean, they let one in on 40, but they only shot once on target. Oxford. So the defence of Birmingham was actually reasonably good. So defence good, but they're not doing enough up front to get those passes in to be able to shoot. It's the supply that for me with Birmingham, and it's similar with the Leicester side. So we've got two very similar sides here. And what are you saying? 1-2. 2-2, 1-2, 1-2, 2-1. I'm going to go with you lot, and I'm going to go with Leicester 2. I'm going to change it. I'm going to go with Leicester 1, Birmingham 2. It's going to be either way, and I've changed it. I'm going to leave it at that now. It's going to be Leicester 1, Birmingham 2. And we go to Borough versus Sheffield United. You see, it's how really easy it is to go either way on that one. We have Borough, Sheffield United next, and Middlesbrough flying. I think they really are. Second place against Sheffield United in 24th. And Sheffield United not playing very well. A lot of teams going here thinking, oh yeah, we can really beat these easily. And then they're finding it a lot tougher than they think. It is a beatable side, but you've got to be very careful against this side. They can win games, and they should be winning games. Let's look at the Middlesbrough games first, and we look at Swansea 1-0 win, lose against Doncaster 4-0 at home. What happened there? Please do tell me, Borough fans. And Millwall win 3-0 and Norwich win 2-1. Middlesbrough they're almost doing just enough to win the games now. Obviously, 2-1 win away to Norwich last time out, and Jacob Wright getting sent off on 58 minutes for Norwich. Don't think that really made a great deal of a difference for Norwich. Borough were, for me, on top in this game all the way through. They deserved their perfect start in the Championship. Okay, they had less shots, but I think that they just managed to keep the ball when they needed to, get up into the opposition's half when they needed to, and they defended the shots from Norwich extremely well. I think this was a good defensive performance by Borough, one that was not quite matched by the front end, but on the whole, excellent defensive work, good midfield work, and decent front end work to get 2 goals out of 4 shots on target. I think that this side is showing, dare I say it, a little bit of improvement even, which is scary seeing as where they are in the league, and scary when you think you're playing Sheffield United, who started with a 4-1 defeat at home to Bristol City, a 2-1 away defeat in the Carabao Cup to Birmingham, a 1-0 away defeat to Swansea, and a 1-0 home defeat to Millwall. Now you look at that game against Millwall, you realise that Sheffield United really were, well, it was quite an open game. It was actually quite an open game. If Millwall thought they were going there for an easy win, it wasn't going to be. 38 minutes they scored, and I don't think it really altered the pattern of the game for me. It was backwards, forwards, good. I mean, 14 shots for Sheffield United, 17 for Millwall. This was going to be, who managed to get one of those shots on target in the net, wasn't it? And it sure was. 4 shots on target without being blocked for Sheffield United, and 6 for Millwall, of which 1 went in the net. If anything, that's not really what the the sort of 1 in 6 isn't great. So they're going to put you in the bottom half, isn't it? But I think Millwall deserved this one through dogged determination, and I think they just had a better sort of defensive midfield section, and I think Sheffield United just showed that they didn't have any creativity in it. There was no creativity. Lots of gameplay, lots of shooting, but the creativity and the precision just didn't seem to be there for me. I can't see it being anything other than a Borough win. Than a Borough win. What are you thinking? 1-0 to Borough, 2-1, 2-0, 2-0, 2-1. None of you saying Sheffield United. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go Borough 2, Sheffield United 0. Sorry, Blades fans. I hope that things do turn for you, because that side's been really unlucky in a lot of those games for me. Just losing by those odd 1 goals. QPR versus Charlton next, and this one's going to be very difficult, very tight indeed. QPR draw, lose. Charlton win, draw, lose. Charlton started well with a win against Watford, and a 1-0 win against Watford, and a 3-1 win in the cup against Stevenage, and they always seem to go sour with a 0-0 draw away at Bristol City. 1-0 away, 1-0 home win. God, I know 1-0 home defeat to Leicester City, and a 3-1 away defeat to Cambridge United. Does seem to have had the wheels fall off the bus slightly here. Maybe it's the transfers that have happened, and whether they fit in, or whether the side's changes have caused an issue. But please do like, subscribe, tell me down below, Charlton fans, what's happened to the bus. QPR next, which I'll leave that one till second, because obviously it was start with a draw against Preston, and both of these sides, we're all saying that this is a bottom 6 first game, isn't it? And 1-1 probably about right. 3-2 defeat away at Plymouth, and people were thinking, that's odd. Bad defence, but they at least did score. And then a 2-1 defeat away at Watford, and last time out a thrashing 7-1 away at Coventry City. And to be honest, I think I did actually a 90 plus 1 minute goal for QPR, but I think they never capitulated so far as, let's just give up and let them just shoot. They did keep on trying, and I must admit that 1 goal, you kept thinking they're going to get 1 or 2, aren't they? They're going to go, they are attacking. They never actually just gave up and stopped. QPR 1 shot in the entire game. It went in the net. Hey, that doesn't matter. But they had 10 shots, QPR. You must remember they had 10 shots, and they had 47% possession. It didn't look like it in the game. Another one of those games, I think, where you can't really look at the stats, but you can look at the number of shots. Shots for QPR 10, shots for Coventry 19, but 19 and 8 on target and 7 in the net for Coventry. Oh my God! QPR 1 shot and one shot on target and 1 in the net. You've really got to think that. I think QPR were just hit by the wrong team at the wrong time, with the wrong precision. It was just. I think it wasn't really a 7-1 game when you look at it as a whole. If you took a 2-minute period where no goals went in, and looked at it and asked people what do you reckon the score is here, you'd probably be an awful lot closer to a sort of 2-1 win, wouldn't you? Not to a 7-1 thrashing. What are you saying then? Because we're Charlton. They like I said before with the Leicester review, they have been doing really well, and the wheels just seem to have fallen off, like that 20 shots at home to Leicester, but only and 7 on target, but not in the net. This Charlton side can be more precise and more technical than what they appear to be at the minute. I think here it's a case of, will Charlton be more to bring that technical ability back. They are away from home at QPR. QPR will want to fight back now after that 7-1 drubbing. Will they be able to do it? But it's on the back of 3 straight defeats. Can they turn it around? What you say? 1-1, 0-1, 0-1, 0-1, 2-1. We're going to go with you. We're going to go QPR 0, Charlton 1, and we'll move on to the next game. The next game is Stoke City versus West Brom. Stoke City, we started with the win, draw, win, and a defeat. Started with 3-1 win at home to Derby County, and I think Stoke, really after those first 3 games, the win, draw, and the win, people actually, this Stoke City side are playing rather good. It was a refreshment, and they won that game. They won the Sheffield Wednesday game remarkably easy. Consider it 3-0 away. Considering Wednesday actually have been playing bloody well, to say that they've not got a lot of their good players have gone, and they're playing a lot of youngsters. They played really well. So 3-0 there was really, really impressive. And Southampton away win 2-1. That was impressive. The Carabao Cup Bradford game, they lost 3-0. You'd never underestimate Bradford. I believe they're the best defence in League One at the minute. And they just came aground with it. So we go to the Southampton game. Stoke had Mbama sent off on 59 minutes. Did it make a difference? Well, yeah, because Harwood Belly scored on 79. Had he stayed in, would it have made a difference? Well, we'll never know, I suppose. But that Southampton side, they did come back and they did get that goal. And then I saw that the Southampton side just pick it up a notch. Why they didn't pick it up a notch before that, I don't know. But, Southampton 1, Stoke 2. Southampton scoring on 79 and just managing to they almost, for me, got that equaliser but didn't quite. Stoke City have been doing well. From just 35% possession, and realistically, a lot of that was in that of Southampton's possession was in that second half. Stoke played really well in the first half. Had to sit back a little bit for me, certainly when they'd scored that first and definitely the second, way back, to make sure that I think realistically it was sort of like, Mbama sending off, let's sit back a little bit and try and defend this one goal. But they ended up 2-1 winners. 35% possession, 12 shots, 4 on target, 2 in the net. They did really well. Southampton just couldn't turn any of their shots, of which there were multiple. I don't even think this score here, this number here is right. 18 shots to Southampton. It looked like a hell of a lot more. Stoke really were backs to the wall, and I think that they have their goalkeeper to thank as well in this one, because he has made a few their goalkeeper has made a few cock-ups. Certainly last year, Johansson sometimes handing it to the attacker straight from the goal line. He actually played reasonably well this time, so good on him. I would say that, though he came from Rotherham. So what are we going to see? Because that one to me was quite a back against the wall, but it shows you how good defensively they can be. West Brom, though, they started, oh my God, they started 1-0 at home win to Blackburn Rovers, 1-1, 2-3 win away at a very tough Wrexham side. That was a ding-dong of a game that showed that West Brom can score, but they can also let goals in. And then West Brom at home to Portsmouth. I think we'll look at that one. They had Ryan Mason sent off on 70 minutes, and I don't think it made too much of a difference. I think Portsmouth tried their best to get a winner here once they got that sort of extra man, but for me, West Brom were always in control, and Portsmouth really, that goal was sort of against the run of play. It should have been a lot more for a bigger win for. It should have been a win for West Brom, and it should have been a decent win. But and before the red card. So I think that this West Brom side at home have sort of shut. I think they still have shun off that thought of the Drawthorns, but they're away. They're away at a side that is certainly. Probably just as good as they are at the minute. So this is actually, for me, quite an even game. For different reasons. I think Stoke can defend doggedly. I think West Brom can certainly attack. Their defence may be occasionally a little bit weaker than the Stoke City one at this moment in time. You're saying Stoke West Brom 2-1, 1-0, 1-1, 1-2, 1-1. I'm going to go with somebody there. I'm going to go with Stoke City 1, West Brom 1, and we'll go to Blackburn versus Norwich City. Now, we go to Blackburn. Blackburn are playing some decent football. They've not been getting the run of the green at all, and they should be getting better results than what they have been doing for the style that they've been playing. I actually think that they've improved that side, and they were getting the run of the green last season. Okay, not playing as good as what their position in the table was in the first 2/3 of the season, but if we look at what they've been doing since August, lose, West Brom, Bradford and Birmingham. And then last time out, a win away at Hull City, 3-0. Now, this is a side, Hull City, that have been playing a hell of a lot better than what people thought they would, seeing as they have an embargo on them. However, or had an embargo on them, they're really playing really well. So to win Hull City so convincingly, and basically it was over by 50 minutes, wasn't it? 3-0 to Blackburn, was really good. And their precision, their passing, everything was really... But Hull City's passing was equally as good. Look, the passing in this game, it was all about passing. When the teams had the ball, it was very difficult to get the damn thing off them, whichever team it was. You could see this being a draw if you looked at the game and took a snippet again. The passing was brilliant from both sides. When they had it, great. And it was pretty even as far as play. When you look at the replays, absolutely brilliant. In fact, I think a draw would have been possibly the right result. But for me, Blackburn just managed to take the edge just a little bit in this game, because they converted more of that passing momentum into forward in that final third for me, and that's why they managed to get those 3 goals. So it's not just about being able to keep the ball and have great passing, which I must admit Hull City did have and Blackburn had. It's about the actual ability to get that passing into the final third. Blackburn's defence just stopped Hull flat there, and just didn't let them that passing get... you kept going to see them go forward, back, trying to get through the Blackburn defence, and it just didn't happen. On the other hand, you've got Norwich City, who started this for me pretty boringly. They lost at home 2-1 to Millwall, and then it was a win-win against Watford and Portsmouth, and then 2 defeats last time out. Borough 2-1 at home in the Championship, and 2-1, and then Southampton 3-0 defeat at home in the Cup. Going to the last one, which is Borough, of course. We've already just mentioned that recently. The game there, they've obviously got Jacob Wright sent off on 58 at Norwich, and I think it didn't really make too much of a difference here. Norwich have been playing pretty... It's difficult to say. In this game against Borough, let's just take that. Their passing was absolutely outstanding. Their ability to do long passes, short passes was absolute. Was some of the best I've seen. There was some great passing, some great ability to get into the box, some great abilities to shoot. But they just seem to be hitting it against defenders. A lot of it's blocked. A lot of it's off target. Only 3 shots out of their 14 were on target. The rest, 6 of them were were off target, and 5 of them were blocked. This side just seems to be not taking it calmly when they get in that box. They need to be calm down and think about it. Look, that side can play better football, but for me, even the 2 wins for Norwich, they were dragged out affairs. They were ones where you could see them, you could see them not winning it right up until the end, but it's nail biting, and it can't be brilliant for the fans. Class of football here is way different for me. Blackburn's football, although they've only got that 1 win last time out, is for me slightly better than the Norwich side at the minute. I think there's an upturn visible in this Blackburn side. I can't see an upturn in the Norwich side. What are you thinking? 2-0, 1-1, 2-2, 1-2 and 2-2. I'm actually going through with a score of my own. I'm not going to get any of those. I'm going to go with Blackburn 2, Norwich 1, and we'll move on to Bristol City versus Hull City. So we've got a City battle here. And Bristol City, obviously, we look at how... let's look at the tables for one start. Bristol City are in 9th. Hull City are in 15th. Bristol City, undefeated so far. 1 win and 2 draws. 1 of each for Hull City. And we look at how they started. Bristol City started the season 4-1 winners away at Sheffield United. And then they won in the Cup against Milton Keynes Dons 2-0. And we're thinking, actually, 6 goals in 2 games. This is a good team, isn't it? And I think even the next 2 games, the Charlton 0-0 and the Derby 1-1, showed that this Bristol City side is capable of playing some damn good football. And when you look at the Fulham game, they lost in the Cup 2-0 to Fulham. However, it was Bristol City that gave the Fulham side the first goal, the own goal from Tanner. Bristol City did play reasonably well. They didn't have any shots on target, but they weren't out of it. It was quite a tight game from both sides. Both sides played some really good defensive football. And if you look at the last championship game, the draw away to Derby County, Derby got some bloody good players, and Derby left it until 86 minutes to equalise to that Scott Twine goal from Bristol City on 35. And you can see Scott Twine's playing some damn good football. But only 2 shots from Derby, only 2 shots on target from Derby, only 3 shots on target for Bristol City. And here I think you can see that there's a little bit of a defensive. It was almost like neither of these teams wanted to lose the game. Let's make sure we don't lose it. Let's play a good defensive play and try and catch them on the break. That appeared to be what this game was all about. Bristol City then win, draw and lose. I think that this Bristol City is showing what they can do, and what they can do is pretty exciting football. They can turn up, and sometimes they can not turn up for parts of games, which used to be what one of their statistics, didn't it? Last couple of seasons, it's not been the case, but I'm hoping that they don't slip into that this year. Hull City draw in the first game, 0-0 to Coventry, 3-3 against Wrexham away, 3-2 at home to Oxford, and we can see we're seeing a lot of goals certainly against them. And then Blackburn 3-0 defeat at home. I mean, in the last 3 games, they've let in 8 goals in the last 3 games and scored 6. Doesn't that show you that there's a lot of goals to be had here against the Bristol City side, like that won the first game 4-1? One looks at this and thinks, who have they been playing? Some damn good sides. Fulham, yeah, and Derby County. We know they've got a damn good front end and a really good back end. this is a side that can play some good football as well. So I would expect lots of goals. What do you think? 3-2, 3-1, 2-3, 3-0 and 2-1. This may be a 2-1 win. However, which way round will it be? Because they can both, it can flip both ways here. Really can. Hull City may want to come back after that Blackburn defeat. I think that Bristol City will be less upset with the Fulham defeat, more upset about the manner of it and how it happened. You're saying all that. I think that I'm going to go with Bristol City 3, Hull City 1, and we'll go on to Ipswich versus Derby County. Ipswich, well, we expected Ipswich to play really, really well this season, bounce back. In fact, I think I had them first in my prediction table. What has happened here? 1-1 draw at home to Birmingham, and in the 94th minute or something, they really did leave it late. Didn't really, for me, deserve a draw out of that one at all. A 1-1 Carabao Cup away draw to Bromley, and then a 1-1 home draw to Southampton, and then cap it all, the last game, an away defeat 1-0 to Preston North End. And I think that was a penalty, which shows you how much this game was really about the which team was going to panic first in defence. I think Ipswich 72% play. I didn't really see that amount in it. Perhaps you did, perhaps you didn't. Please comment, like and subscribe. Comment down below, Ipswich fans. Did you see it as that high? There was a lot of passing from Ipswich. It must have been. I remember all the passing being really, really clinical and really, really good. And it looked like they could pass the way anywhere on the pitch without actually even thinking about it. And they even got up into the final third quite often, but the number of times it was actually fired at target was. In fact, I don't think in the replays afterwards, I don't think there was one on target shot in the replays. I do believe they had one or two, but not. It certainly was in the ones or twos. So it's a side that just seemed to be, oh, quick, we're in the final third, shoot, that can't be your game plan, and it's not going to work because it hasn't been working for this Ipswich side. So if they keep on playing that, then these 1-1s may be all they're going to get. But they're playing a Derby side which do have a damn good front line. Absolutely, their recruitment I thought was brilliant. They started though with a 3-1 away defeat to Stoke City, but there again, you see, we said Stoke City were going to play bad. They didn't. They played absolutely cracking in that game. West Brom 1-1. Coventry City defeat 3-5. Remember that one? That was a cracking game for a neutral, wasn't it? Not a very good game for a Derby fan, of course. And then Bristol City 1-1 and Burnley in the Carabao Cup 2-1 away defeat. If you go to the Bristol City game though, Derby 1, Bristol 1. We mentioned this one a while back, didn't we? And that one was. We decided with Bristol City, didn't we, last time? The Derby County here were equally defensive, and I think it was just a case of not wanting the other side to win. It was a pretty even game. Derby County for me never look. The side that was ahead in that game was more Bristol City because they managed to get at least into that final third a little bit more than what Derby did. For me, Derby County were trying not to lose and they were just pegged back, and they did get into the final third, but not quite controlling it as well as I wanted them to do as a home team. So it was probably a deserved score, 1-1. But I think that at the end of the day, either of those teams would have come away thinking, we could have won this one. What are you saying then for the Ipswich Derby game? 1-0, 2-1, 4-0, 1-0, 3-0. I can see Ipswich. Look, I think Ipswich can. Look, they're going to have lots of shots. They are going to have lots of shots. How many can they put in the back of the net? I don't think they're going to put that many in the back of the net. I'm gonna say that they're still not going to get that clinical finish, and it's going to be, oh look, there's a net, shoot at it. I think one of them will go in the net, and I think that Derby County could score. This could be this could be a 1-1. This absolutely could be 1-1. It's almost got 1-1 written all over it. If you look in front of me, I've got 5 1-1s in the last 8 games. So, it's got 1-1 written all over it. I'm not going to go for a 1-1 though. I'm going to go Ipswich 1, Derby 0. But it could be a 1-1. And we'll go on to Millwall versus Wrexham. Now, Millwall will be looking at this game against the Hollywood Giants and thinking, we've been doing well. We can do this. I mean, last time out, Millwall at home 2-1 winners over Coventry, and look what Coventry did last time out. This is a good side, and at home, they are doing really well. Apart from they're doing really well. They played 2 games. That last Coventry game was really good. I have to take that back, don't I? Because actually the first home game was Borough, so it would have been Millwall 0, Borough 3. But Borough are playing extremely well, so we can sort of let them off on that, can't we? So let's have a look at Millwall then. It's a win-win, lose, win-win. Norwich, Newport wins, and then that Borough defeat at home, which seemed to be just Millwall didn't turn up and Borough did, 3-0. And then a Millwall away win, Sheffield United. Again, I think they underestimated Sheffield United, but they managed to do just what they needed to get that win. And then the 2-1 win at home to Coventry in the Cup. The Sheffield United one, though, this is actually where Sheffield United have been losing it. Only 4 shots out of their on target in their 62% possession. But they allowed Millwall with their they didn't have that much possession. Sheffield Wednesday passing it around quite easily and quite simply. Millwall not taking it off them very often, losing the ball a little bit too often, I think, Millwall. But they allowed them to have lots of shots. In fact, more shots for Millwall than Sheffield United in the end. And, of course, that meant that Millwall, on 38 minutes, won the game. They just did more with the ball for me, Millwall. However, should they have done better with that, with the amount of possession they got? Well, probably not, because Sheffield United kept the ball so very, very well. I think Millwall did really well to win that 1-0. Wrexham, though, they came in this with great optimism. Southampton away defeat 2-1. And then 3-3 at home to Hull City in the Cup. And then 2-3 defeat at home to West Brom. 2-2 home draw to Sheffield Wednesday. They'll be bitterly disappointed with that one. And then in the Cup, 2-3 win away to Preston. The Sheffield Wednesday game was the last league game, so we have a quick scan at that one. Wrexham at home not actually having the majority of play here. They really didn't. And Sheffield Wednesday actually ended up playing it. The passing from Sheffield Wednesday was better than Wrexham's. It was more precise. There was more of it. There were a lot of youngsters in that side as well. Although Cadamarteri and Bannon scored. The Sheffield Wednesday side shouldn't have been able to get into that final third quite as often as they did. 21 shots to Sheffield Wednesday. What are you doing, letting an away side get to grips with the game so much as Sheffield Wednesday did? On the other hand, though, it was 2-2. Although they had half as many shots, Wrexham, and didn't quite pass it around as clinically as Sheffield Wednesday. 4 shots on target, 2 in the net. So they were just more clinical in the final shot. Were they lucky? Yes, probably. I think Sheffield Wednesday were quite lucky there. So what are we thinking? Because, this Millwall side can certainly pack a punch when it wants to. Are there lots of goals in this one? I don't think there are huge amounts of goals. However, we do know that Millwall side can just not turn up like it did with Middlesbrough. However, the Wrexham side can be allowing the opposition to get a hold of the game once or twice too many times, I think, in this season. It's going to be interesting because if Wrexham let Millwall play, then and let them have the ball and let them get into the final third to shoot, I think that's going to be quite a dangerous a dangerous proposition, because I think that Millwall can be very clinical up front. What are you saying? 1-1, 1-0, 3-1. 1-1 and 2-1. You might think I'm going to go with the majority there of 1-1, but I'm not. I think that Wrexham are just allowing the opposition too much into their final third. I'm going to go with Millwall 3, Wrexham 1, and we'll move on to the next game, which is Oxford versus Coventry. So here we go with Oxford Coventry. Sorry for the length. I have tried to speed it up. Coventry in third. Of course, after that last amazing win in the league. So we're going with Oxford. Where did they start? We start with Portsmouth 1-0 defeat at home. So it's a defeat, a win, lose. So lose, win, lose for Oxford. For Coventry, it's and get the right game. Draw, win, and lose. And now the last two. Oxford 6-0 defeat to Brighton at home in the Cup, and Coventry 2-1 defeat away in the Cup. Last time in the league for Oxford, 1-0 defeat away at Birmingham, and I think that Birmingham it's one of those things where you look at it and you think Birmingham should have won that one by a lot more than 1-0, shouldn't they? But Oxford managed to just peg them back to that one, and I think they did remarkably well. When you look at the game, I think that Birmingham really should have absolutely won this one by 2, 3 or even 4, but at the end of the day, Birmingham 1-0. They only had one shot on target. They both had one shot on target. At the end of the day, it could have gone either way, 1-0. It went Birmingham 1-0. However, Oxford, for me, very poor passing indeed. Not very great, not very many passing opportunities, and when they did it, it didn't really go right for them enough. I think this idea of poor passers might come adrift against this Coventry side, because they actually, on the opposite, they actually can do really well. The last time out in the Championship, it was Coventry 7, QPR 1. And I think Coventry really just stopped at 7 and thought, let's not take the piss. 19 shots from 53% possession, 8 of them on target, 7 in the net. Ouch! And that's what I mean. The clinical ability here is absolutely really strong. And if you let Coventry be able to pass, and if you're unable to pass, your precision in your passing is not very good, this Coventry side could really make you pay. What are you saying? Oxford, Coventry, 2-2, 1-3, 0-2, 1-3, 1-3. In that case, I'm going to go Oxford 1, Coventry 3. Totally agree with you. I think that Coventry will have too much for this Oxford side. And we'll go on to the last of the first of the 3 last games. Portsmouth versus Preston North End. Difficult one for me, this one, because Portsmouth are just down the road. Portsmouth started in August with a 1-0 win away at Oxford. And since then, it's been a lose, and a draw away at West Brom. And then for Preston, it was a draw, win, and a lose at home, 3-2 to Wrexham in the Cup. Now, their last league game was 1-0 home win against Ipswich. So if we go to the 1-1 for Portsmouth, 70-minute Ryan Mason was dispatched from a red card for West Brom. Didn't really make much of a difference to the game, though. I think that pretty even game, really. I think Portsmouth's passing was a little bit ragged and a little bit lower half of the Championship. I think West Brom's passing was, again, actually West Brom's passing of all the teams this last week was actually the best. We had some excellent passing performances for a neutral. Watching West Brom in this 1-1 draw against Portsmouth was amazing. They just kept the ball as if it was natural instinct. It was at home, and we've got to remember that. But Portsmouth really did defend really well, and you could see how they were playing as a team at the back. They got that problem on down the opposition's left wing. Last season, go down your left wing, cross it in, and you'll not get any resistance from the Portsmouth right wing. They seem to have stopped that, and I said they had to do that to be able to get a mid-table position. Portsmouth, an average performance for Portsmouth, yes, but a very good defensive one. And then we go to Preston. Preston last time out, a 1-0 win at home. Osmagic penalty on 11 minutes against Ipswich. Like I say, Ipswich just not they're firing. They're firing well, but they just shoot all over the place. This game alone, 2 shots to Preston, 1 on target, 1 in the net, 28% possession, and that was what it was like. Ipswich, good passing in this game. Not the best from the weekend. However, it was excellent passing. Really good display there. 570 passes in this game, really good. And they were good, solid passes, long ones, short ones, everything. But only 2 of 15 shots on target for Ipswich. So Preston managed to push them out just enough and keep enough people in the box to stop them getting a clear shot on goal. A lot of blocking, a lot of kicking out, a lot of damn good goalkeeping, and they deserve them. I think for the defensive and the goalkeeping performance alone, Preston deserved this one. How the hell they did it, God only knows, but that just shows to me that this Preston side can be dogged in defence, but so can Portsmouth. That's where I'm coming from. It's going to be two extremely well set up defences here. And the attacks, well, sort of evenish, slightly more on the side of Preston here. I've been siding with Preston so long that this side has been predicted to be going down by so many people, and I've been saying you're going to win, and Preston fans on my channel say, no, you're wrong, we're going to lose or we're going to draw. I say you're going to win, and they've won. And you're thinking, this side's got a good chance here, but Portsmouth are my local side, and I can't really get. I'm sort of on the fence here. What are you saying? 1-1, 2-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1. The only person going for a win goes for Portsmouth. I can't do it because Preston are really, really are probably edging it by about 0.1% here. Portsmouth 1, Preston 1. I'm sitting on the fence, and we're going to our next game, which is Sheffield Wednesday versus Swansea. Look, we know the problems at Sheffield Wednesday. We're not going to go into that. Sheffield Wednesday 2-1 in their first game defeat against Leicester City. But again, they were in their final third most of that game. Caught Leicester on the break, got a goal, tried to sit back on it. Lose, draw, lose, draw, draw. They're actually playing some really good football, considering that now they've got a big percentage of youngsters in it. Last league game was the game we went to earlier with Wrexham 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2, and actually I think I commended Sheffield Wednesday quite rightly. They had a lot more shots from a very young side. And a reasonable amount of them on target. They were just against the Wrexham side that was slightly more clinical. I think Sheffield Wednesday were quite unlucky. In fact, I think that they've been quite unlucky quite often. It's just one of those things that they seem to be just not quite firing enough, because the opposition that they're playing is actually really good. So for me, it's going to be a tough game for Sheffield Wednesday. But they should be looking at getting a few points, and I can see them having a good chance against the Swans. But, and it's a big but, if we look at the first game. For Swansea, lose, win, win, draw, draw. So they're in a similar sort of boat, if you like. Forget the 3-1 win at home to Crawley. The first game, 1-0 away defeat to Borough, but Borough playing brilliant. The other win was at home to Sheffield United, and Sheffield United are just not very clinical in front of goal, are they? The 1-1 draw to Watford, 1-1 home draw to Plymouth in the Cup. This seems to... Look, this side can score. You can see it in their setup. You can see it when they're playing the game. Swansea won, Watford won the last time in the Championship. And they've been shooting off target and shooting sky high. More than half their shots against Watford were off target and away from it, and they just seem to be panicking a little. Again, there's another team panicking in front of goal. Did they need to? Not really. This Watford side weren't really dangerous in front of goal. They can be, I agree, but they weren't. And this 1-1 game was a little bit ragged, a little bit disappointing for me. In fact, all of these games have been pretty disappointing. Including the 1-1 Plymouth Carabao Cup draw there. It just didn't seem to be the Swansea side that I thought was going to prove me right and score loads of goals. They did win 5-3 on penalties against Plymouth, but then, a blip. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's showing that this Swansea side can actually get, if they get the chance at shooting at goal, they can actually get a really good, precise, strong hit in the back of the net. So it's going to be a difficult one. I can see both of these sides able to score a fair few against each other. Swansea away to Sheffield Wednesday, 1-0, 1-2, 1-2, 2-3, 1-2. I'm sort of like 3-1, 2-1. I'm going to go Sheffield Wednesday 1, Swansea 2. We will have to choose between them. And the last game is Watford versus Southampton. So here we go. Now Watford, obviously, this is a side I thought might just improve just a little bit, but then everybody around them's improved probably a little bit more. A mid-table side, possibly, as they started this season in a 1-0 defeat to Charlton away, and then so it was lose, win, lose. Last time out 1-1 draw. Lose, win, draw. Last time out was that boring 1-1 draw to Swansea, which we've just mentioned, so we don't need to mention that. This was a lacklustre performance, not very much up front, not that great a performance by defence. I think that Watford's defence of both defences there were probably the worst of the two. But Southampton, they're the same. They can be a little bit rocky occasionally in defence. I think Southampton's defence is slightly better than Watford's. and it should be. They're realistically a Premier League side with the parachute payment, aren't they? They played Wrexham first, 2-1 win. So win, win, draw, lose, win. The defeat came last time out in the league, actually, against Southampton, against Stoke City. And Stoke had Mbama sent off on 59 minutes. That sort of tipped the table for me. And they did start to attack quite strongly, this Southampton side. And some would say that all that possession that they had was in that second half. A lot of shots, but again, more than half, a lot more than half were way off target. And this is another side that just aren't thinking when they shoot. They just seem to be, let's lean back, kick it as hard as you can, and let's see where it goes. On the other hand, there was some good saves by the defence, and I think one or perhaps two by the Stoke keeper that were pretty good. So I think I'm going to say that because he's an ex-Rotherham player. So what are you saying? 2-2, 2-1, 0-3 to Southampton, 0-1 and 3-2. I think this Stoke side can play some pretty good defensive. I mean, that Southampton game was a hugely defensive display, wasn't it? And that Southampton side can certainly be pegged back. It proves that Southampton side can be pegged back because of that Stoke City defence. So I think the Southampton side against Southampton defence against the Watford defence, they let the Stoke side in a little bit too much, and they've done the same in several other cases, like the Wrexham game. This Southampton side up front is my worry, because, like I said against Stoke, they couldn't break down that defence. Can they break down the defence of Watford? Well, Watford's isn't. I don't think Watford's defence is as solid as Stoke's, to be honest. Look, it's not let many in, but they do let goals in, and they do have errors in the Watford game, and I think it's those errors for me that could be the proof in the pudding. It looks like you're actually agreeing with me. There are a few errors in the defensive side in either of these defensive units, because Watford Southampton, you're going 2-2, 2-1, 0-3, 0-1 and 3-2. I'm actually going to go with it. I'm actually going to go Watford 3, Southampton 2, and hopefully, it will be a goal fest and one to enjoy. It could be 3-2 either way, by the way. So it's John Esser Sports Channel over one more week. Do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the watch along. Thank you very much.